Yeah, we've got one of those Japanese players who are having such an impressive run at this tournament, and of course Azul, I think it's fair to say one of the most well-known and popular players in the game right now.
Oh, absolutely. And one of those people who is also an IC winner. Azul took NAIC last season as well. So we are just, like I said, another stacked player joining on our stream today. So Kai versus Azul, Garcia Griego here. Looking at those prize cards, oh, I just miss them every time, Ross, but hopefully there wasn't anything too bad there. I know that I saw at least 2 mulligans, I believe, over for Azul, getting a couple of extra cards there. So I am ready to get into this match, Ross. This is our round 8, of course, so things are really narrowing down in this tournament, and we are just jumping straight into it. This is our Swiss round 8. Let's get into it.
Yeah, and we've got 5-1 run records, which means the winner of this round will be into day 2, will guarantee their day 2 finish. So
Nice.
That is pretty good. We've got Kai who starts off here, and we've got a Lugia, and it looks like we've got a Capture Energy here, that's going to help.
Yeah, these win-ins are always the most exciting to watch as well, because usually the person that ends up winning this is like, woo, I made it, I'm in, let's go. Yeah, but we are starting over here on Kai's side of the field, getting those 2 Lugias down. You love to see it as a Lugia player. You just want to go as consistent as possible. Didn't get to see the hand yet, but let's see if we can line up an even better turn 1. But no, it's just going to be a pass for that. So nothing in the discard here from Kai, and we're just passing over to Azul now.
But we do have the 2 Lugia, which is the most important thing. You can always get the Archeops next turn
Later
in the
down,
discard.
yeah.
You can't get the Lugia next turn, at least, and then evolve them. So over to Azul here, we've got a Cramorant in the active, and now it's a case of, can we get some Comfy or Comfey? It looks like Battle VIP Pass is going to help.
I believe that there was actually 2 Battle VIP Pass in the hand as well for Azul, so we are going to see some Comfey indeed. That is for sure.
And then there might have been a Chorus's Experiment. I might have misseen that. But certainly 4 cards in the Lost Zone. If we can get 4 cards in the Lost Zone and a cheeky Cramorant attack for 110 here, that would be a great start for Azul here.
Yeah, so I'm curious as to Azul's list. Azul has been rocking it with Lost Zone for plenty of events, but usually it was the Kyogre build. I believe this is a different build of the deck, though.
Yeah, it's like one we saw earlier. We've got the Zera Aura Dragonite. So it's very similar to one we saw on stream earlier. We've got Zera Aura and Dragonite, and they are basically your other attackers here. You've got the usual ones with your Cramorant and your Sableye and your Drapion, and then you've got your one Dragonite, your one Zera Aura, and those are essentially your other attackers we've gone for. They do seem to be a popular pair of attackers at this event.
Oh yeah, ditching the Kyogre. See you later. Well, we're getting on with things here, but no, I think it's turning out quite well. It's no coincidence that these players landed on the same set of cards into these Lost Zone decks. So yeah, all right, let's see if Azul, how they're shaping up this field so far. And as I said, there was Battle VIP passes aplenty in hand. We're going in with a concealed cards here, discarding that Water Energy to draw 2 cards to hand as well. At this point, Azul with the extra mulligan cards too. I mean, this hand is just filled with cards, and we're just going straight in with that Chorus's Experiment.
Yeah, I thought I saw it in hand. It was there, and this is good because now all we need is 2 flower selecting, and then we've got that Spit Innocently on board with the Cramorant here, which isn't going to get a KO, but it's going to do a couple of things. It's going to get that Lugia down to half HP, so potentially could be KO'd with a Cramorant if it doesn't evolve, or it's going to just bring down, when it evolves into a V-Star, it's going to be sitting there with 170 HP, which is nowhere near as threatening as 280 it normally has. So it does seem like we are, there we go, almost put those cards into the discard pile, just trying to figure out where is that Lost Zone going to be. Oh, up there. There we go.
I know these players keep switching the discard pile on me. It's confusing sometimes, but yes, the Lost Zone is going to be up top there. So now we are seeing, even Azul is confused here too. That's 2 cards in the Lost Zone. Discard pile is on the left here as well. So we are going to see another flower selecting. So that is going to make 3 into the Lost Zone now for Azul. And like you said, Ross, anytime you can get off some chip damage early in the game, you're just going to be in a better position because, Lugia doesn't have any way to heal that damage. So you just chip away and hopefully lock up those prize cards later in the game.
Well, it kind of forces your opponent to evolve. They don't always
True.
necessarily want to evolve into, they don't want to, if they can only evolve once, they don't want to be attacking with a damage V-Star. But if they don't evolve up and use a damage V-Star, then they've got a V which can be easily KO'd by a Cramorant. And anytime you let a Cramorant get a 2-hit KO on a 2-prize Pokemon, that just feels absolutely terrible.
Oh my
that's a
gosh.
nice to see. Oh, that's not it's still turn 1, so
I
that
was
Battle
about to
VIP
say.
pass is actually still on board.
But
Ooh.
I think that's literally all Battle VIP Pass now in the entire deck that is somewhere on the field at this point, or still potentially in the hand. But I think 2 of them are played already. So yeah, Azul is just setting up here when you throw 2 Battle VIP Pass into the Lost Zone turn 1 because you already have what you need. That is just wild. I mean, I cannot believe this. And I mean, that kind of goes to show too, if you get a couple extra mulligan cards too, it can be very detrimental potentially. But yeah, this hand is just huge for Azul. And we're going to still see a Primate Wisdom. Already 4 cards in the Lost Zone and still just going.
Yeah, we see the pivot there into the Cramorant by discarding that capture energy.
Yep.
We do see the 110. And what Azul's done really well here is set up his perfect board. Because he got literally to pick whatever he wanted. And basically, those are the 6 Pokemon he wants out right now.
Yeah, you can say that again. So that Spit Innocently is going to do that 110. And now it's back over to Kai to figure out what to do with this. I'm trying to see the hand here. There is an Archeops in hand and a way to discard it as well. We're going to start off with that Evolution Incense to thin out some more cards from the deck. That one being drawn to the front there, of course, that other Archeops, because you want to get 2 into that discard pile. 2 is a lot better than 1, and we've seen that plenty of times here today. But still, we've actually seen many games where the player clutches it with only 1 Archeops. So, you never know. But getting both is always way more safe of a position to be in.
Well, there's different scenarios. We saw Natalie earlier playing a game where she very consciously decided she only needed 1 Archeops. Let's go for it. But then we've seen other games that, today where people really wanted the second Archeops, but they were just pushed into it and had to go with the 1. And in those games, it rarely worked out well.
Yeah, I was about to say, it really changes pace depending on how you're forced to play the 1 Archeops or not. So, yeah. Here we go. We're going to see that Luminous Sign off of the Luminion bring out the Professor's Research from the deck as well. This might just not be too good of a hand here for Kai, and we might just see a bunch of cards hit the discard pile.
No, this isn't too bad because we saw the Quick Ball getting rid of the Archeops.
Yeah, that was
for
great.
the Luminion,
and the
for the Professor's Research, which we know there's a second Archeops in hand, and now this gives Kai potential outs to the Lugia V-Star. So if Kai gets the Lugia V-Star off here, we've got the 2 Archeops in the discard, we've got the Lugia V-Star out, and now we've got exactly what you're looking for turn 2. And this is why I said you need the Lugia turn 1, the Archeops can wait, but I am not seeing an out to the V-Star in that hand. Kai, I think Kai did everything right there, and it did not work out. That was a really good play.
Yeah, I mean,
and it didn't work.
A fresh 7 cards too. You seem, I'll hit something that I need, some sort of search out to get into this V-Star. But yeah, that is not what we're gonna see off that research. Oh no!
Read the wind, discard a card from your hand, draw 3. Now actually has 3 Archeops in the discard, but that was a bad turn from Kai, and now Kai's got energy on that Lugia, and it's gonna get KO'd by the Cramorant. That is not good at all. This is a huge break for Azul, being able to KO that Lugia with the Cramorant. And that's just what we know is going to happen at the end of the turn. Azul can do a bunch of stuff first.
There is a lot that's probably going to happen here still for Azul, that's for sure. Look at that hand. That is so many cards there, and we're starting off with, of course, that concealed cards that just drew into an additional 2 cards, straight into another Colress's Experiment as well. So we're going to see another 2 cards hit that Lost Zone off of this Colress's Experiment.
And we've just had confirmation from our lovely friend Chip. Well, I said this is similar to the build we saw earlier from Isaiah Williams. It is, in fact, the exact same 60 as we saw from Isaiah Williams. So it's not just the same tech attackers. It is a literal same 60-card deck, which it does make a little bit of sense here. So we did see that Colress's Experiment come down. We've now got 6 cards in the Lost Zone. We are not quite at Mirage Gate territory here, but we don't need to be. This is why this KO with the Cramorant is so big.
Gosh.
You don't need to rush into having your Saberline, your Mirage Gate, and all of that on board. You're going to go 2 prizes up, and you can go for a nice, slow, gentle setup while going up with prizes. Kai was on the verge of a great turn last turn, and it did not work
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, that is so unfortunate to see. And yep, exactly like you said, Ross, we're just seeing Azul handle this very casually. We're just going to see some prize cards be taking the lead, and still just such a giant hand as well. So that is going to be how things pan out, but there's so much still that could potentially happen. Of course, I don't think that Primate Wisdom has been utilized out off the Oranguru. It looks like Azul is contemplating it there, and then I don't even think we've seen any flower selecting yet. The air balloon did come down onto that Comfey already, so there's pivot option there now. Here's the Primate Wisdom, switching top card and drawn into a card. It's going to be that Snorlax, Sleeping Snorlax.
Yeah, Azul's doing us a favor. Azul is making sure to turn his cards at a 45-degree angle to show us which abilities have been used. We don't even see any flower selecting. Don't want to waste any pivoting options. We just leave the Cramorant in the active, get the KO on the Lugia, go up by 2 prizes, and, I mean, Azul caught a big break there, but really took advantage of it nicely.
Absolutely. That was just a seamless turn there for Azul. Now we are back over onto Kai's side. Let's see what can happen in this turn. We're starting off with an Ultra Ball, having to discard the Choice Belt and another Lugia V.
But top deck the Ultra Ball, which meant it was the next card. Kai was 1 card away from just being able to go off last turn and just wasn't quite able to do it. Would have been able to KO the Cramorant, would have been able to get itself away from KO range from the Cramorant. We would have been in a very different situation. And we saw, and it was the fact that you went for the Luminion to get the Professor's Research to give yourself the best possible chance of drawing that Lugia V-Star.
Yes,
and then still missing it. That's what gets me about plays like that.
Yeah.
Kai did the right thing and did the digging, and it didn't work out, and it was so close. So we do see the Lugia V-Star, and we can still get the 2 Archeops here.
Yeah.
But is this a turn too late? It might be.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. When you're playing against these one-prizer decks, things can swing out of your fortune very quickly, depending on how the turns play out. And like you said, Ross, it might just be a turn too late. But either way, we are going to see both of those Archeops. So unfortunate, there was 3 in the discard. Of course, 2 only being selected here, only being able to be selected here onto the bench from that V-Star ability on the Lugia V-Star. Summoning Star. I just said Star like 5 different times, Ross.
Oh, but it is Luminion, and we know what's going to happen here. We're going to put a couple of energy on. We're going to do 120. We're going to go back to the deck, and that's going to give the extra added benefit, of course, that Luminion is then going to be in the deck, so you could play it down later to reuse that Luminous Sign. We're talking about numbers a lot today, and the fact that Luminion can do 120, even though you're generally playing it for the ability, it makes it a really good counter to these awkward single-prize Pokemon that have 120 or fewer hit points.
Oh, yeah, definitely. This is a huge attacker that we often see utilized in this matchup specifically, because just recycling all of those energies and having a continuous cycle of attackers is huge for this, for sure.
It's not quite double fish, but it's not too bad.
Yeah, that's true. So both of those primal turbos being utilized here to get all of those special energies. I mean, look at all the different types here that we're seeing. Tons of different special energies. That's how this deck works. You're going to see a lot of different type of energies to fuel all of your very powerful Pokemon. This is definitely a heavy Pokemon-loaded deck, as you see that Radiant Charizard hitting the bench as well for Kai.
Yeah, that's always a good one. So we do see the Lost Vacuum coming down here. And it seems like we're going to be getting rid of an air balloon while a Serena hits the Lost Zone.
Yeah.
Of course, Kai is not really playing with the Lost Zone like Azul is, but yet we're going to get the Lost Zone counter anyway, even though it doesn't really mean anything for Kai's deck. We still know there's one there, and we're going to have to get that counter up, which is a little bit strange. But we do see those tech attackers coming down here, and we've got the Charizard and the Yveltal. These aren't getting the value they would get against V-Star and V-Max decks, but they still are not too bad here.
Here we go, going in with a Professor's Research as well. So fresh 7 cards here for Kai as well. All those attackers have joined the party, and we are just going to see that Aqua return there from that Luminion there, taking the knockout and then being shuffled along with all of the energies back into the deck.
Yeah, it's not really ideal leaving that Evil Tal active. I mean, really, Evil Tal's there to take giant KOs on
Yeah.
Pokemon you're unable to KO. But using it there as a little bit of a wall, why not? It is in Cramorant range, but the thing is, does Azul even have access? Yeah, there are 2 Cramorant in the deck, and there's a bunch of recovery, so maybe Azul just wants to kind of keep going with Cramorant for a minute. It would
Yeah.
keep getting KOs.
Azul's kind of cruising right now, for sure. And I mean, that air balloon was put into the Lost Zone as well from Kai, but also, removing that pivot option as well, which Kai seemed to favor with that Lost Vacuum.
But that did put us all up to 7,
know.
which then activated the Mirage Gate.
I know, exactly. I mean, but it most likely would have happened anyway, but yes.
Oh, yeah. Because there was a company in the active. But still.
Yes, exactly. But there we go. We are going to see that Mirage Gate is activated now, and it is utilized as well. So retrieving those 2 different types of energy and placing them on to that Radiant Greninja. And there is no bench protection on Kai's side of the field.
No, so that means you can really take advantage of that. Having a quick look at Kai's list here, obviously it does play a Manaphy. They all play Manaphy, but there isn't a Manaphy down at the moment. So that means you can potentially, you're not going to really be getting any KOs here, but you can get a whole bunch of energy, a whole bunch of damage down on the field and start working on it for later.
Yeah, and that's where this deck just thrives as well. It's dealing damage all over the place. It's taking knockouts on actives. It's dealing bench damage. It's dealing weakness damage as well. It's tough to match up against Lost Box decks when they are hitting the cards they need. That is for sure. And Colress's Experiment is just one very solid way to get to those cards.
And this is big because we haven't used Flower Selecting on the active Comfy, so the combination of Chorus's Experiment and that Comfy is going to put 10 cards in the Lost Zone, which is then going to activate Sableye, which can drop 12 damage counters. That's a KO on an Archeops or an Archeops or an Evil Tal. There are a bunch of options. So what Azul can do here, and what we could also see is kind of setting up a double KO here, whereby you see the Radiant Greninja doing 90 to a couple different Pokemon, and then Sableye coming in and finishing them both off
Cleaning
next turn.
them up.
And, it could be, for argument's sake, I don't know, both the Archeops? That could work.
Yeah, that would be pretty debilitating, that is for sure. Over
That's
on
what I'd
Kai's
be
side.
going for right now. I'd want to use that Grenade. Now, you could go after the Lugia V-Star with a lot of HP, but I would love to drop 90 on each of those 2 Archeops, and then next turn, I've got Sableye, and Archeops are off the board for the game.
Yep, and here we go. That Sableye's coming out. 10 cards in the Lost Zone. Radiant Greninja being brought to the active to utilize that Moonlight Shuriken as well. This is just going. This is bread and butter here for Azul.
Yeah, there are a lot of options here, and of course that Radiant, that Evil Tal's really not doing a huge amount there, so I would personally be trying to ignore that one. It's whether you want to really soften up the Lugia here or not, I think becomes the question. But either way, the great thing about Radiant Greninja, it does not have to hit the active. It does 90 to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon, wherever they may be. And if that Evil Tal's going to sit in the active, not doing very much with not enough energy on, you know what? Leave it there. Start going after the bench.
Yeah, that is very true. So we did see the energy recycler there from Azul as well. And now, is that that's the Sky Seal Stone I see.
Is that one? Yeah, that is a Sky Seal Stone. It's only working if you get a KO on a V-Star or V-Max. So it's not really going to be relevant this turn. I'm not seeing a way that Lugia goes down.
No, because there's already been a supporter yet. And I don't think there's another Gus
And there's
option.
a full bench, and it just gets a little bit awkward. So you can use it, but that's something you want to use later on if you get, your Zera Aura or your Dragonite KOing a Lugia, for instance. That would be when that would be a really good play. And we do see,
Moonlight Shuriken.
As I suggested, both of those Archeops, just because I'm mean and that's what I would have wanted to do. But it is actually huge because you've got no second V-Star power here.
Yeah.
Next turn, Azul is going to use Sableye to KO both of them. So Kai has got one last turn of energy acceleration, and that's basically it for the game.
Yeah, that is where the downfall of Lugia definitely comes into play there. Once those Archeops are out, you're never getting them back. So then you're just manually attaching from there. And at that point, you just lose so much momentum and you slow down just enough for your opponent to be able to take the game. So that, yeah, very powerful. You called it, Ross, for sure. And sometimes you just look at a match and you say, what would I do here? And that's the answer. So there you go. We are now over on Kai's side of the board here. We did see the energy attachment of that double turbo onto the Evital in the active position, and we're going in with those primal turbos.
Yeah, that is. It's your last turn to do it, so you might as well enjoy it
Yeah,
while you
gotta
can.
do it, yeah.
But it's things like the Evil Tau being in the active. We've just seen Kai, put one of those double energy cards on the Evil Tau, presumably to retreat it. So on your last turn of actually being able to use Primal Turbo, you're having to use one of those 4 energies to retreat the Evil Tau to an actual attacker, and then that's one more resource that you've essentially wasted. So I think the way Azul is playing this game so far is just absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised by that. Like I said, Azul is very familiar with the Lost Box decks, of course. Was repping that Kyogre for a long time here, switching over to a different build now. But yeah, I mean, on full display here, Azul just vibing with this deck and doing a great job. But we are going to see that Radiant Charizard being brought into the active after the hard retreat of the Evital. And we're going to see a Choice Belt come down onto the Lugia V-Star and then a Marnie. So very slim hand there that Kai had to shuffle and put to the bottom of the deck. Kai drawing 5 cards and Azul drawing into 4. So that huge hand is now a little bit smaller. Actually, a bit smaller there for Azul.
Yeah, that Choice Belt's not really going to do anything. That was just classic hand thinning so that you've got fewer cards in deck for the later stages of the game. And we did see the KO with Charizard here, but this is too early. You don't want to be putting 3 energy on a Charizard. You want to be putting 1 energy on a Charizard. And putting 3 energy on a Charizard just to KO a Radiant Greninja. And look, it was the best option at the time. I think Kai absolutely did the right thing. But what Azul is doing is putting Kai in a position where he's having to make awkward, decisions and putting himself in a situation where that's not what he wanted to do, but it was kind of all he could do.
Yep, and that's just going to lead to, as you mentioned before, us just potentially running out of resources, running out of energy, running out of cards that you need to be able to pivot into other attack. I mean, running out of Archeops, let's just bring that up as well. So, yeah, not being able to utilize that Radiant Charizard for the full ability that you get with the Excited Heart that depletes the energy cost is just definitely not what you want to be seeing.
But the big question here is whether Azul has a Psychic Energy. Right now, I don't think he does. We saw one was in the discard.
Marnie hit?
Oh, now we do still see, we got the Bird Keeper here, and we've got Flower Selecting. Oh, that was water. Water. It wasn't the one we wanted. There is still a Scoop Up net. There is potentially another Comfey there. So we've still got some more. Ah, there it is. That's very, very big.
There we go. And that is going to fuel this Sableye that is looking pretty evil there on the bench.
Yeah, and we've already got Scoop Up net in hand, so we know there are no issues here.
No.
We can pick up the Comfey, pop up the Sableye, and now things are starting to look very, very nice indeed.
Yep, and it didn't take too long for Azul to just refuel that hand with all of the powers of the Lost Box deck for sure. So, yep, that's Scoop Up net first. Oh, we might see the Primate Wisdom. Utilizing,
and it does look like Kai is conceding the game, losing both of those Archeops when you don't have a good enough board to support it is too much, and Azul does win the first game and really takes the lead. Now, this is a win and in, but it's not a lose and out, and that is important.
Yeah, like I was saying before when we were jumping into this game, it's always nice to see these because the player that ends up winning it is usually pretty happy because they're into day 2, and that's nice to see. But on the flip side of that, too, the other player on the opposing end still has a chance in the competition here. So these players are going to be going into a game 2 for this round 8 that we are in. There's 26 minutes left on the clock here. Of course, they still have to shuffle up and set up their board states, but what do you think? I mean, Ross, I feel like we didn't get to really see Kai's deck at its full potential, and that's always unfortunate. So maybe things will turn the tides, but really it happened in that first turn. Kai missed that pop-off right in the beginning, and it just hurt to see.
Yeah, I mean, being able to, giving Azul the opportunity to get that 2-hit KO with a Cramorant was absolutely huge. Then Azul being able to, just pull off that brilliant turn with a Radiant Greninja, getting rid of both of those Archeops. And there were things Kai could have done, but, did he have the Manaphy? Did he have an out to the Manaphy? Was there a way to get that Manaphy onto the bench? If there was, then that could have been something to put down, but you don't always expect the Radiant Greninja to come out in one turn like that, and especially, you know, setting up that play to KO both the Archeops. There's certainly things Kai can try and do differently in this game, you know, getting that Manaphy out, but then you're restricting your bench space, and you need a lot of that bench space. And then, you know, if you don't have the Dunsparce, if you don't put that down, then that opens up a potential KO with Zero Aura on Azul's side of the board, and we saw this when we saw Lugia against Lost Box earlier. It's a real kind of back and forth where what you're trying to do is predict what your opponent's doing and try and kind of cut them off at the pass. And Azul did a wonderful job last game, but I do need to point out that early turn, that turn 2 that Kai had there, really, really was so close. Really digging, playing beautifully, and just missing that Lugia V-Star. And it turns out the next card was it was that Ultra Ball. That was harsh. That was rough.
Yeah, that definitely was. You hate to see it when it's the next card in the deck. But here we go. We are jumping into our game 2 of our Swiss Round 8. I was watching while you were chit-chatting there, Ross, too. Azul had such an interesting decision here because there was, I think, 4 different options for a starting Pokemon. Sableye, Snorlax, Oranguru, and I think even a Manaphy was in there as well.
Yep.
But opting to go for the Oranguru after a little bit of debate here. But of course, we are starting over on Kai's side, who is starting with that Radiant Charizard. Not necessarily a card you want to start with, but I guess not the worst.
That's a get it later kind of card.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. That's a pop out right when you can attack with it kind of card, definitely.
So Kai's had a decent start here. We've got a Quick Ball. That's going to allow you to discard the Archeops, which is good. That's going to get the Lugia V, which is good. And there is a Lugia V-Star in hand, which is good. We don't have a second Archeops, though, to hit the discard. And I'm not sure what Kai's got after that. Now, the good news is it is very, very unlikely that Azul will be taking a KO on the Lugia turn 1.
Yeah.
It is possible. I mean, if just a Lugia out, we could potentially get 7 cards in the Lost Zone, and then we would need an Escape Rope, a Zero Aura, and a Mirage Gate. It is doable.
That's true, I guess,
but it's incredibly unlikely.
Yeah. We've seen some wild things, though, with these decks, so I guess you never know here. But, all right, so yeah, here we go. Kai's still setting up this turn 1. We did see that Evolution Incense for the Archeops into the Quick Ball to discard it. Now just getting that Lugia V down onto the field, manually attaching to that Radiant Charizard and passing back over, well, I guess over in general to Azul now for turn 1 on Azul's side.
Yeah, we've got that lovely Oranguru using that Primate Wisdom there,
How
trying to see an extra card. The thing is, you know, you said that Azul has a bunch of basics, and he does. He doesn't really
have a supporter,
want any
though.
of them.
Yeah, I was about to say, there's also no supporter, and of course, Azul is going second, so is able to play supporter at this point. You would love to see a Colress's experiment, and maybe we will see that because that Radiant Greninja's coming out, and if you're able to use that concealed cards, you get a little bit extra draw support. Azul also took an additional card in this round as well for another mulligan that Kai had. So 1 extra card, but yeah, like you said, Ross, it's there are a lot of Pokemon.
This is not how you want to start. That Capture Energy wants to go on a Comfey, so you can have a pivoting option for that Comfey later on in the game. You don't want to bench that Snorlax this early in the game. You don't want to put the Capture Energy on it.
Oh,
but it was literally Azul's only chance.
Well, off of that concealed cards battle VIP pass, just to jump back into the deck and get some more Pokemon. So we are going to end up seeing those Comfey come out anyway.
Yeah, that worked out beautifully. And I know it was the right choice to make, of course. The Snorlax was the better option to put down. You had to put the Capture Energy on. You had to get the Radiant Greninja to draw the most cards now. And it actually has paid off beautifully. That Battle VIP pass is literally and figuratively going to open up the deck for Azul.
Yeah.
And this is very, very different. A couple of minutes ago, I was not feeling great about this setup.
Well, also the Cramorant came off of the concealed cards as well. So it's just like, oh, that jumped into hand as well. That's quite nice. So there we go. 2 Comfey coming on to the bench here from Azul with that Battle VIP pass. Yeah, that is great.
Yeah, it was a very nice turn from Azul. It went literally that Capture Energy into that Greninja, and that 1 concealed card has changed absolutely everything. I'm sure Azul was not loving his hand at the beginning of this turn, now feeling a bit better, and we see the switch card into the Comfey, and now we can start flower selecting, and we straight away see a Colress.
Oh, it's 2 colors.
It's not even 1, it's 2.
Yeah, but you don't want to see 2, but hey, at least you got 1, I guess. You have to discard or sorry, not even discard, send to the Lost Zone. See you later, Colress. Work on your experiments in the Lost Zone, buddy.
I'm kind of all right with this. I don't love seeing 2, but Azul has gone from
but then you get 1.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You've gone from a bad start to a good start.
For sure.
You don't want a Lost Zone 1, but you know what? At this stage, I'm so relieved to see 1. I'm cool Lost Zoning 1.
Yes, that is definitely true. So we have 3 cards now into that Lost Zone on Azul's side of the field. And then we're going to see that Hard Retreat attaching that Psychic Energy onto the active Comfey just to go into another Comfey. 4 cards, of course,
Wait,
now off that flower selecting.
Is he not still in turn 1?
Yeah, this is turn 1.
Because he attached the Capture Energy to Snorlax. So how did we see an attachment onto the Comfey as well?
Oh, you're right.
So if that was an attachment, we saw a double attachment there, and that's not good.
No, this is 100% turn 1 because of that Battle VIP pass. Okay, so I think it would just, oh no, we might need to see some correction here because I feel like, I believe that flower selecting was already activated on that Comfey that was brought into the active after the Hard Retreat. So we might see some correction here, but if the flower selecting didn't go off, maybe it's just a quick revert.
Yeah, it looks like we are going to try and rewind it here. It's a good job it was caught. And we've said this before, we need to not judge players too harshly on stream because it is very stressful. It's not sitting at the table like you used to. It's, hey, come up on stage with everybody watching you, put on one of the Fancy Play Pokemon t-shirts, have the headset with the noise cancelling, with the white noise in, have a table judge staring at you the entire time. This is about as intense as it gets playing Pokemon. So, we must remember not to judge the players too harshly. It is easy to make silly mistakes that you would never make in a normal game here.
To be honest, I don't even know if it was the pressure on Azul. I think it was just this turn is so good, it doesn't even seem like a turn 1. It seems like you're in a turn 2 at this point. So, who knows? There's always slip-ups that happen for sure. But it looks like our judge is working hard here to figure out the situation so we can get reverted back and jump back into this game as soon as possible. Usually when there's situations like this, though, there is some sort of time extension after whatever issue is resolved. So no worries. We're not missing out on any time here. We're going to get a nice conclusion to this game regardless of what happens.
Yeah, the judge seems to be on it here. Now, time extension, it only kicks in after a certain amount of time. If it's a very quick ruling, it won't kick in, so we'll have to get confirmation about that later.
Yeah, I don't know if this is too quick, though.
It does seem to be that they have managed to reverse it quite nicely. We'll have to see if there is any kind of penalty. I'm sure somebody will let us know when it is decided. Will give us a little bit of a poke as to what's happened. And it seems to be have we seen a double prize card penalty here? I'm not sure.
They should let us know.
Yeah, somebody will let us know. I saw the 4 fingers being pointed in a kind of you only have to take 4 prizes. So that might be what they're saying here. We will get... Okay, so that really does seem to be what they're saying here. Essentially, you don't get to take the prizes, and that's how it works nowadays with double prize card penalty.
You just have to do less prizes.
Yeah, you have to take fewer prizes to actually win the game. You only have to take 4. It's harsh, but bearing in mind, we are at a winning in for an international championship. This is not round 1 at a small tournament. This is a very important game. We do have to, and there we see the confirmation on the screen, those prizes being readied out there. So yes, there was a double prize card penalty given to Azul for what was unfortunately a fairly serious gameplay error.
Yep, and that is definitely going to change the tides a bit. Kai not getting off to the best start, especially in contention with that turn 1 that we are still on Azul's side over here. But, now that you only have to take 4 prize cards, things could really change up here for Kai. So I believe we are now swapped over to Kai's side. We are going to see that summoning star for only 1 Archeops on that bench, and we're going to pop off straight away with a Primal Turbo off of that Archeops.
It's not bad. It's not the ideal there, but it's the best you can do. Of course, we kind of had to pass because without that energy, that Comfey was
exactly. You're stuck
in the active. And it looks like we're going aggro Charizard here. This is
Oh
not
my
how
gosh.
we usually see Lugia played. Getting one Archeops out to go, and a five. Who does 5 energy Char? We never see 5 energy Charizard.
We saw the 3 energy Charizard last game, and now we're seeing a 5 energy Charizard. Let's go.
Kind of love this. So we do see the KO on the Comfey there, easily enough damage. But I kind of love this from Kai, because Kai's saying, hey, you've had kind of a slow start. I think and I only need to take 4 prizes.
Yeah, true.
I think I can rush to 4 prizes.
Yeah, I mean, if you can burden your opponent, I guess that's what you're going to do for sure. We are back over on Azul's side of the field, though, after that knockout, of course, on that Comfey. So Kai going down a prize card here over to Azul's side of the field. We did see that concealed cards, and now what we're seeing is a Hisuian heavy ball going into those prize cards, grabbing out a basic Pokemon if it's there, switcherooing it with that heavy ball, and carrying on with the turn after you shuffle up those prize cards again, of course. 4 cards in the Lost Zone here for Azul, so Cramorant is online. Of course, you want to hit that 4, 7, 10 to unlock Mirage Gate, and that Sableye later down the line, too. Speaking of Sableye, 1 is in the Lost Zone here, but I'm sure there are more in the deck.
But everyone at home, say it with me. Cramorant doesn't hit for weakness.
No,
that
yeah,
is very
let's
important.
make sure to remember that.
That is
sure.
a mistake a lot of players make. Cramorant does not hit for weakness. It hits 110. It will not hit this Charizard for weakness. People keep trying to use Cramorant as a counter for Charizard and then become very surprised when it turns out the Cramorant, in fact, does not hit for weakness.
Well, also there's, some people that watch the streams that are a little bit more casual, and they're like, oh, water against fire. That's, easy peasy weakness. But yeah, there is a little bit of subtext there that you definitely have to take note of. So good point there for sure, Ross. All right, so we did go in with a Colress's experiment as well for Azul. We are now seeing 6 cards here in the Lost Zone. And we're still popping off.
7.
Yeah.
And that, of course, opens up Mirage Gate, which is absolutely huge. That is the next kind of big milestone, so to speak.
Yeah.
So this is looking pretty nice.
Yep, Mirage Gate, of course, allows you to line up your attackers with those energy that you need and start taking some prize cards or just dealing some damage to the field, which is very crucial because you want to get those prize cards, especially being at a disadvantage here for Azul because of that penalty that happened.
Yeah, and just a quick confirmation, there was a 2-minute time extension. Those of you that were looking may have noticed the clock did actually jump up by 2 minutes. So if you're paying attention,
it wasn't an error.
You would have seen that. So we did get that little extension. No time has been wasted. And Azul here is really on the back foot. He's kind of 3 prizes down at this stage. There's no obvious way to get a return KO on this Charizard right now without Mirage Gate. So it's going to be Mirage Gate. Oh, actually, there is a Mirage Gate being played onto the Radiant Greninja. And you know what? That does hit for weakness.
Yes, that one does. That water Pokemon, it for sure does.
Oh, no, I like this. This is exactly the right play. If you've got that other water. Now, there is, it looks, there's 1 in the deck. There's 1 in the Lost Zone. Azul needs... Oh, there's a second Mirage Gate here. Okay, that'll do it.
I mean, you have to think we're at 14 minutes now, and Azul is playing this out still. So Azul knows there's a chance to take this home, and that's just going to be going extremely aggressive here with the Pokemon, the attackers, and trying to really put Kai at as much of a disadvantage so there can't be recovery to take those last 3 prize cards in time for Azul to clean up the rest of the game.
And I think what we're probably going to see here is a KO on the Charizard. You'll put 90 damage on the Lugia on the bench.
Yeah.
And then you've actually, you'll bring the Archeops into range. So you'll put the Archeops down to 120 and then put the rest on the Lugia. So you put 60 on the Lugia, 30 on the Archeops. And then next turn, Sableye could just take out the only Archeops, and then we're kind of back where we were in game 1, and that's got to be, I'm imagining what Azul's thinking here. So I still think there's a route here for Azul to bring this home.
Yeah, I think if there was no route, that Azul would not continue playing, that's for sure. So here we go. Let's see it. Let's see if Azul can take this home regardless of that early game penalty. And there's a lot of energy on the field now, Ross, that's for sure. 2 Mirage Gates will do that for you, for sure. Of course, that pivot option already on that active Comfey, so we're going to see it jump straight from the active position to the bench, and those two energies already being tilted there because those are going to be the ones discarded after that Moonlight Shuriken pops off here for Azul.
Yeah, annoyingly here with the Radiant Greninja, it is just 90 to 2 of each. So I think you probably have to just go KO the active 90 on the Archeops. I don't really want to. I want to kind of spread it out. You can do that with Sableye.
Yeah, you can't split it up.
No, you can't split it with Greninja, unfortunately. So it is just going to have to be 90, unfortunately.
90 to 90.
Yeah. See, it's awkward because I look at this and I really want to put the damage on the Lugia. But I know I've got to take out the only Archeops, and I know it's going to be Sableye that does it. So it actually works out the same, but it's 90 here and 90 on the Archeops, and then next turn you finish off the Archeops and put the red. So Lugia still gets the remainder.
It's just a little bit of different sequence. Exactly, yeah.
But I think I said that slightly out of turn a second ago. So just to confirm, the Lugia will still end up with some damage on it, but it's going to be from the Sableye. It's not going to be from the Greninja.
It's all good, but we are going to see that knockout there for Azul going down a prize card here. So still 5 prize cards left to take for Azul, and we are over on Kai's side of the field with the heavily damaged Archeops on the bench. And that is the lone Archeops on the bench, might I add.
Yeah, and I mean, essentially Azul... See, this is super awkward. I'm just trying to work through kind of back and forth. Now, about the 2 prize penalty, I am loving Azul's position here.
Yeah.
The problem is, Azul basically has to give up a prize here, because we know that Lugia's taking a KO.
Yeah.
Next turn, Azul can KO the Archeops on the bench, but you kind of have to give up a prize to do so. And then Kai's only got 1 prize remaining. So I suppose the question is, after you take out the Archeops, do you then have an answer to the Lugia, or do you want to get the Lugia first, but then you're leaving the Archeops out, which really isn't where you wanted to go here, and it's not an ideal situation either way, honestly.
Yeah.
But there are options to take down that Lugia. You know, Azul can take out the Lugia if need be.
Yep, but we're going to see Kai take the knockout there with that Tempest Dive. More than enough damage there to knock out that Radiant Greninja. And we are down another prize card, bringing Kai to only 2 prize cards left needed because of that penalty. And we're over back on Azul's side to see what can happen.
But this is it. I said Azul had an answer to the Lugia. The answer is Zeraora.
The Zeraora.
You need the Lightning Energy, 1 more, so it's Mirage Gate. And you need the Choice Bout. Because it's a V-Star, you will need the Choice Bout. V-Guard Energy does nothing because Zeraora is not a Pokemon V. So it's nice and simple. It does 110, add a Choice Bout, 140, double for weakness, 280. Oh, look, that's exactly what Lugia just so happens to have. Question is, do we have Mirage Gate? Do we have Lightning Energy in the deck? Do we have a Choice Belt? The fact that Azul's gone and got the Zeraora tells me probably yeah.
Oh, yeah, lining it up for sure. Luckily for Azul, I don't think.
Oh, he's literally got it all in hand.
I don't think the 2 Lightning Energy were prized like Isaiah Williams earlier today. That's for sure. It looks like one is in the. I'm assuming they both play. No, they both play 2.
Yeah,
so
he's only got 2.
One's on the Snorlax, one is in the discard pile. But
he's got Ordinary Rod.
Ordinary Rod. There's also like Energy Recycler. Plenty of ways to get some energy back out, and then that Mirage Gate is just gonna draw it straight back out of the deck as well. Yeah. So you just see how all these cards play together so well, sequence together so well. It's just recycling into the fields. You love to see it, and that Zeraora is coming out.
He's got Mirage Gate, he's got Choice Belt, he's got a Scoop Up Net at least. He's got something for the Comfey. He's got Pivot Option. So this KO is absolutely on board. And as much as you want to get the Archeops, take out the Lugia now. And then if Kai doesn't have a return KO here, then you can just take out the Archeops next turn anyway. You want to get the Archeops off the field as fast as possible with Sableye, but when there's a fully powered Lugia and you've got an answer to it and you've got all the cards in hand, even though you don't want to leave the Archeops, you have to just for a turn.
Yep, you're measuring your threat levels for sure. But we are going in with a flower selecting first. Of course, you got to do the best that you can here. Look at that absolutely stacked Lost Zone there for Azul as well. Another flower selecting. Manaphy going into the Lost Zone there. Another Mirage Gate being put into the hand.
Yeah, this one is looking absolutely done. You know, we know we've got to
Yep.
pivot for the comfy. And at this stage, Kai might only have 2 prizes remaining,
Yep.
but I'm not seeing where they're coming from. I mean, essentially, there's no great attacker there, and you then accelerating energy with Archeops, but you've only got 1 Archeops. Your Radiant Charizard's in the discard pile, and you don't really play any recovery. So I'm struggling to see where Kai's attackers are coming from at this stage.
Yeah, unfortunately for Kai, things just got very clunky for really in both of these games, as we saw having to use 5 energy for a Radiant Charizard knockout because you started with it. It's just really an unfortunate series of events. Of course, that single Archeops being pulled out with the Summoning Star too, and we're just seeing Azul continue with this turn, going from flower selecting to flower selecting. The flower selecting, there is no lack of resources here.
But now we got 10 cards in the Lost Zone, and that unlocks Sableye, and that is
Yep.
absolutely huge. Now we see the energy
And
on
the energy.
2 Sableye. Of course, both the energy on the Zeraora were from the
Mirage
Mirage
Gate. Yeah.
And now we see Primate Wisdom, but Azul seems to have this game really locked up at this stage. We see the KO, and Kai has very little left here.
Yeah, Azul took literally every possible action he could that turn. So that is a fully utilized turn here. And Kai is just left with a very sad looking lone Archeops in the active. I mean, this is sad to see if you are a Lugia fan.
But it's not just that you need an attack around the energy. You've now got
You
the
need a lot.
Archeops stuck in the active, and you need a pivot option to get it out the active because it's got a retreat cost. It's only a retreat cost of 1, but it has a retreat cost. So, I mean, here, Kai's going to basically tell us what the plan is. We got the quick ball the Ultra Ball coming down. It's going to go and search for a Pokemon of some description. And,
One of many.
yeah, we did bases looking, what have I got? Now, does Azul have a Manaphy down at this stage? There is an amazing rare Raikou play which could come out here getting a double KO, and it would get the Zeraora and another Pokemon. You would need to use, but the problem is you would need to use both the energy acceleration from the Archeops and your energy acceleration for the turn to get it up, and then you would still need a way to get the Archeops out the active, and then you could take it, and that would actually win the game. Kai's only got 2 prizes left, but I'm not seeing a pivot option in Kai's hand, so I think that's basically the route. That's how Kai wins this game. I'm just not sure he's got the resources to actually pull it off. But does Azul have a Manaphy on the bench? He doesn't.
No.
So that's essentially it. If Kai can attack with Amazing Rare Raikou this turn, he will win. If not, I'm fairly confident Azul is going to win the game and the match.
The Manaphy's actually in the Lost Zone if there's only 1 in deck.
Yeah, and then there's never going to be more than 1 Manaphy, not in a...
I'd
be very surprised. Yeah, there's just the 1 Manaphy.
Who knows? I
both
never
decks
know
here.
with these decks, honestly. But yeah, that Manaphy is long gone, never to be returned.
So now the question is, do we have, and bearing in mind the attack cost is super awkward on the Raikou.
Yeah.
It is a grass, a lightning, and a metal. So, you know, things like powerful colorless energy, capture energy aren't going to do it. I'm not sure Kai's got the energy. I'm not sure Kai's got the pivot option here. I'm not sure this is going to work out. I'm not seeing free colored energy. So it looks like we're going Pumpkaboo instead. There's no stadium in play. Pumpkaboo just does 2 energy 20. I'm not sure that's going to do it.
The energy just being placed straight onto the Archeops here, one of those being the powerful, which is going to boost the attack of the Archeops that's in the active position.
The problem with this is you'll get the KO on the Zeraora.
Oh, another powerful.
And there is a KO. This gets a KO. The problem is this doesn't win you the game. That Stoutland is too expensive, and there's no energy acceleration left on the field.
Azul still needs to take 3 prize cards, though, and Kai's now down to 1.
Azul does. My problem is I'm not seeing where Kai's attacks are coming from.
Yeah,
like Azul,
because he can't power up.
And Azul is blatantly going to try and get a Dragonite out, assuming there is a Mirage Gate left to try and power it up, assuming there is enough energy. But then again, the Snorlax can take out the Stoutland with a choice belt at this stage.
There's so many options here.
So actually, no, it doesn't even need a choice belt because Sableye is going to soften it up.
Yes, yeah.
So I'm going to be honest with you. I don't see how Kai takes the KO next turn. And Azul is going to take 2 KOs in a row here.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm not sure how Kai finishes this game. I think he's out of resources.
Yeah, definitely. Very awkward use of resources, unfortunately, on Kai's turn. But let's see this play out. I want to see Azul come back single-handedly from that 2 prize card penalty and show everybody, hey, you can make mistakes and you can still come out on top.
Yeah, but once again, I'm asking for Dragonite in this deck, which is supposed to
you
be a
want
Dragonite deck.
So bad.
And once again, as soon as I say it, I'm like, no, he's not going Dragonite. Snorlax will do it just as well. And like I say, the Sableye here being able to spread around this damage is huge because it negates the need for a choice belt. You don't need to do all 12 damage counters onto the Archeops. You're just going to put 6 down on there, I believe, which is going to leave 6 over on the Stoutland. And that's going to be a very easy KO for Snorlax next turn. Kai has essentially got 1 turn to take a KO. And there's a Comfy there. That Comfy's got 70 HP. My problem is I'm not... Like, this would be a perfect turn for Charizard, for Radiant Charizard. Radiant Charizard,
but it's gone.
By this point, Azul's going to be down to 2 prizes remaining. Radiant Charizard would attack for a single fire energy. Boom. Get the KO, win the game. Job's a good one. The problem is, Radiant Charizard's gone. There's no recovery. We do have Luminion. And here, your best option is Disrupt with Roxanne.
Yeah, there you go.
Attach an energy to Stoutland. And just cross your fingers that you get another turn to attach it.
Hope to stall this out. That is what we are going to see. So Roxanne, both players shuffle their hands into their decks. Azul's only going to get 2 cards, but I mean, we've never.
Needs any
I was about
cards,
to say, we've never. That's not even an issue.
He's got an energy on the Sableye to retreat. He's got free energy on the Snorlax to attack. There's enough damage on the Stoutland that he doesn't need a choice belt or anything of that description.
I mean, that's really all Kai could do, though, at this point.
Oh,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's what you got to do.
I don't think that really hurts us all very much at this stage.
There's a minute left on the clock, too. I definitely think we're going to see a conclusion to this game, that's for sure.
It just looks like Azul's already got game on board.
Yeah.
Because Snorlax can do 180.
Unless there's something we're vastly missing right now. I don't think so.
Oh, I'm sure if there is, I'm sure there are people yelling at me through the TV screen. But no, it doesn't look like there is anything. I'm fairly sure that's a concession from Kai. And it does. Yeah, there we go. There is a match slip. Azul does win 2-0. And yes, there was a double prize card penalty, but it did not matter in the end. Because once again, Snorlax, too powerful.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's sleeping as well, which is just wild to see. Sleeping on the card and just the MVP of the day today for sure. But here you go. You see those players giving a quick little fist bump. Azul, Garcia, Griego taking a 2-0 victory into a day 2 as well.
Yeah, this was, of course, a winning in. That does put Azul into day 2 of the tournament. And now we got that lovely last round for Azul where, hey, maybe I win and that really is a win tomorrow rather than today. Or maybe I don't. But I don't need to worry about IDing or any of that. I'm almost certainly going to play the game out and just try and get those free match points. Because like we say, Azul is one of those players, a former international winner. So very much not aiming for top 2. Not aiming for day 2. Aiming for top 8.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, at least, definitely. I mean, I look back on that game, Ross, and I'm just kind of like, what happened? Like, how did the way things played out really play out? I mean, we saw Lugia, like, played how we haven't seen it all day, I think, ever on the stream. Was it just an unfortunate series of card draws?
I mean, for both games, Kai didn't have the answers to Lost Box.
Yeah.
You know, we saw Azul bringing out the Sableye and all. Like I say, game 1, we saw what happened with game 1.
Yeah.
Missing that Lugia V-Star was huge. Game 2, the double prize card penalty was big. And then going for that single Archeops. And I don't know if Kai was able to get that second Archeops, because that was the big change. And that was really the turning points in both the games. Missing that turn 2 Lugia V-Star game 1. And going for the single Archeops game 2. And we said this at the beginning of the game. We've seen in some matchups you can go for the single Archeops and it's fine. Yeah. But if you want the double Archeops and you go for the single, every time that's happened on stream today, we've seen that player lose.
Yeah.
If you want the double and you go for the single, it hasn't worked out. And a lot of the time, you still have to go for the single, because if you go for none of them and wait, you'll lose just a little bit faster.
True.
But going for the single Archeops, and it meant that Kai was never able to really get those attackers that he wanted. It was lots of using all of your Archeops to put 5 energy onto onto a Charizard, and then just not having the resources at the end to really finish out the game. That was the problem.
I know. That was probably the funniest moment for me when we saw the first game with the 3 energy Radiant Charizard. We're like, 3 energy Radiant Charizard? Wild.